Welcome to Chicago Bears 360, keeping it a buck with Coach T.
Contra.
Life like chess, move to pieces, you know I roll in silence. On the road to them Benjis, I fill my teeth with diamonds. I'm high as fuck in the sky, you would've thought I'm pilot. I'm from Chicago, it get ugly, fill the streets with violence. Life like chess, move to pieces, you know I roll in silence.
Past, present, future. We bear down.
Welcome to Chicago Bears 360 with Coach T. So we're going to do things a little bit different today. So based off of my last videos, some ideas for Nagy going into Detroit or versus Detroit, my last video posted yesterday, I believe, or 2 days ago. I got this comment from Patrick Brooks. Except Detroit defense is not going to play like the Browns defense. So as I was struggling with ideas for video content, I thought, yeah, Patrick, you got a point there. Maybe Detroit's defense is not going to play like Cleveland's defense. Or perhaps Detroit's defense is going to play like Cleveland's defense. So I thought maybe we can just get into the tape and let the tape decide. How about that? See, the unique thing about this game called football is it's played on the field 360 feet in length and 160 feet in width. That's 120 yards back of the end zone to back of the end zone, and across the field, sideline to sideline, that's 53 1/3 yards. And it's also played with 11 men on each side of the ball. So part of your job, or part of the job of an offensive coordinator, is try to exploit the imbalance that's going to be on either side of the ball, left or right. Because it's played with 11 men, there's going to be even or odd number of men on either side of the ball. And that's what part of your job is to exploit, to get the numbers advantage. So to Mr. Patrick's point, Detroit's defense may not play exactly the way Cleveland Brown does, but because it's played with 11 men, you're only going to see certain types of coverages on either defense. And for reference, you can go back and take a look at the other tape. But we're going to take a look at some of the game tape against this last week's Baltimore versus Detroit game to see exactly what their defense does, to see how it aligns with Cleveland's defense, and if we can exploit anything. So this is the beginning of the game, 1st and 10. You have Baltimore in some kind of split formation. And again, we can take advantage and we can take a look at the tape and see exactly what we think. First of all, what Detroit's going to do against the Chicago Bears this coming Sunday to try and stop our offense. So automatically, I can tell you Detroit is running a 3-4 as their base. There's the three big guys in the middle, linebacker, 3-4 base. They're starting out in a 2-high safety look. You got a cornerback here, cornerback there. That's their base look, right? So it's going to be a 3-4, and it looks like man. Let me clear this up. Why does it look like man? It's because, again, our rules for reading coverages pre-snap is clear that, SDL. That's the number of safeties, right? The depth of the corners, and then the leverage of the corners. Are they shaded either way? Or after the snap, do they step and influence the wide receivers towards a particular direction? And I'll get into that a little more in a minute. Let's clear that up. But let's roll the tape forward a little bit, and let's see if they stay in this 2-high safety look. And as you can see, before the snap of the ball, Detroit rolls the safety down into the box into a single high safety look. If you go back and look at again my tape against my video versus Cleveland, you'll see a similar look. You can only play this game with 11 men on each side of the ball. So why do I believe they're going from a 2-high man, 3-4 2-high man look to rotating this safety down in the box? I believe they're doing that because on film, Baltimore and the dynamic legs of Lamar Jackson could run a similar play, zone read concept, zone step into the strong side. Here, running back either giving the ball there to the running back. Lamar's reading this end right here to see if he crashes down here. Now, again, the zone read goes like this. If that defensive end crashes down, Lamar's going to get out here. This safety here is to account for Lamar running. That's the immediate threat. So the motion will look something like this. They will have like this is more like a power zone where they have a lead blocker there, but they still run the zone motion, right? So this guy, this fullback, gets up in there and muddies the water and helps out the power. So it's a zone read concept, but it's a more or less a power zone read concept. So immediately already we see that that's a similar look to what the Cleveland Browns did or gave last week. So again, if we want to exploit the zone read, as long as we can get good yardage in the give, which is here, as long as we can get good yardage on the give, the basic zone, the zone play, then you can do it. No matter what, the defense has to respond, whether you're getting yards or not. Hopefully you're getting yards, but the defense has to respond. And I believe this is Detroit's counter and being prepared for the zone read concept was to walk this safety down in the box to account for Lamar running. So already we're seeing similar concepts from Detroit. That's what I'm saying. So one of the things I failed to point out on the last clip was the difference between Detroit and Cleveland is this. Detroit runs a 3-4. Cleveland runs a 4-3. So let's talk about the difference between those formations or those defensive sets. So Detroit runs a 3-4, which looks more like a 5-2. And the 3-4 is these three interior defensive linemen are the 3. These outside linebackers count as the 4, and that's your 3-4, whereas Cleveland runs a 4-3. Either way, in total, there's 7 in the box. Now, let's clear that up and talk about specifically the defensive line technique. Usually, these guys are shaded towards the strength of the formation. So somebody's going to give a loosey call or left or something that starts with L, and that means that the strength of the offense is on this side of the ball. That's to make sure they have the numbers right, the correct number of linemen. Remember, said this game is played on long field, but the field is always imbalanced. There's always a stronger number of personnel on one side of the ball or the other because it's played with 11 men. And the offensive coordinator's job is to try to exploit the strength of the formation. Clear this up. So let's talk about these defensive line techniques since we're getting into it, right? You got this guy here. He's shaded a little bit to the inside of the center. That's a 1 technique, right? And if you keep counting to the left, you got the guard, you got the tackle. Guys on the outside of the guard looks like. So if you count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 technique. And then you got this guy on the backside who looks like he's either shaded, he's head up or shaded to the outside. And again, you start counting from 0 from the center's head back to the guards, and in between the splits are a number as well. So if you count over, that's a 1. Either he's head up in a 2 technique, and this guy on the outside of the tackle is another 5 technique. Let's see if I got that right. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 technique, right? Those are the different techniques of the defensive line. So if you hear somebody saying he's playing a 3 technique, they're talking about these guys down here, right? Clear that up. So Detroit's base defense is a 3-4. They're going to go with 2 high safeties. And again, they're afraid of Lamar Jackson's legs. So they're going to rotate this guy in the snap of the ball, and they're going to rotate him down in the box because they are afraid of this play right here. Power zone. They're afraid of them coming this way and Lamar somehow getting out to the perimeter with his legs and eating up yards. Whether that's the play they run or not, they are accounting for Lamar. Let's run it, see the results of the play. It's just a simple give, and there you have it. In the run game, I believe this is the exact way you have to attack Detroit and any 3-4 defense. The weaknesses of this formation is on the edges, right? Or on the edges between the defensive end and the outside linebacker. And I believe Baltimore does a great job here of pulling the guard in this trap and trying to get the running back to the edges. Be nice if we had a fullback, but we also have a similar concept with the Bears where we have a tight end come off the edge of the formation and give a cutback for David Montgomery or whoever's in there running the ball. I've never seen Nagy, at least this year, run a trap. So I'm not sure how he's going to attack the edges. If he's going to go straight up zone. So let's clear this. Unless Nagy's going to go straight up zone to get to one of the edges and still bring the backside or the tight end backside just to give a cutback lane. So you would go, for example, you would go zone here. You would pull a tackle on some kind of fold a wham blocking motion, and then you would give the running back the option of going with the zone and then cutting back if he sees a hole back there. That's one way he can do it and attack this defense. But the strength of this defense, I'm gonna clear this up. The strength of this 3-4 defense is right here. Is actually up the middle, and you don't want to necessarily attack them right up the middle. You want to come right off the edges. So what we have to do is try to run between the outside linebacker and the defensive ends and get to that lane right there somehow. Whether we fold it, whether we wham it, that's in the run game. That's where we have to try and attack this defense. Again, this is one of those things when you're watching film as a coach, you want to pay attention to. It's always about the manipulation of numbers, right? So Baltimore comes out in this, again, an ace left look, ace left gun. But again, I believe Detroit is concerned about a potential quick hitch over here. So Detroit walks a safety. He goes from his too high spot and he walks over here, which basically gives you a disadvantage of the numbers. And again, if you count the numbers in the box, right, and you start looking at numbers, there's 6 in the box right now, and then over here is 2 on 3. These men over here, this man over here is locked up man to man. This guy back here, if you do the total math and the numbers, right, you have 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. So if I'm looking at this on film, if I'm checking this on the sideline, or if I'm the Bears, I'm scouting at this, I'm saying, hey, when we give them this ace gun look and they walk this safety over to make sure they're accounting for all the bodies on this side, I'm counting the numbers in the box and I'm realizing, clear it up, I'm realizing that we have a numbers advantage, right? I got the center, 2 guards and 2 tackles, and a tight end, right? That's 6. That's 7. And I got a mobile quarterback, right? That's 8. And I have 6 defenders. Whether they run it now or they run it later, I have a numbers advantage in the box right now. So what's the best way to me exploit that numbers advantage, right? Because everybody can't account for everybody in this box. You're outnumbered by 2 men. And again, this is where it becomes a chess game. So what plays do I have in my playbook that exploit that number, the number disadvantage, whether I go to the strong side here, or if I do some kind of counter or a trap, pull a guard and get back to this side. What do I have to take advantage? Now, you have all this open field out here. So more than likely, you want to get to this side. Now, potentially what you can do is go with some kind of zone read here, push everybody here, fake here. And again, now that they have this safety back here walked over, Lamar can get to the outside here. Or you can go RPO. There's a number of things to do, but you have to take advantage of the numbers mismatch down here. Again, when you're watching tape, you're looking for consistency. You're looking for tendencies right here, right? So on the previous 3rd down and short situation, Detroit chose to go with a 4-3 look. Go with a 4-3 look, bring in an extra DB, right? And they're going to do a 4-3 look with that DB. So again, they shift out of their 3-4 base and go with a 4-3 nick look, right? On 3rd down or 3rd and short. So they want a nickel defense, but they're running nickel defense 4-3 look. And they're going to go with 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Again, they start out in a too high safeties back here look, but I'm checking to see if they rotate this guy down again. So now he starts down, but it looks like he's backpedaling. No, he's rotating down again. He's rotating down into the box. So if he's creeping down into the box, I'm thinking, again, they're going to be in some kind of odd coverage. Send this guy here. He's going to have this here. That's some kind of cover 3 man. And then I'm checking the leverage of the cornerback to see how he's playing this man. His depth is saying man to man. I'm locked up. I got you man to man, right? And if I see how this guy's rotating down, the numbers tell me that he has to have deep middle third. This guy's locked up. Just like odd number coverages equal either man to man coverage or cover 3. And based off of what I'm seeing, clear this out. Let's run it. It's a man coverage. They're counting for everybody. It's cover 1, cover 3, something in that family. So we know the personnel grouping they're going to give us. So it's a matter of the Bears watching the tape and knowing what looks they can exploit. Make sure you have the right personnel, right? If they're going to go man to man, you know what I'm saying? Who can beat their man to man? A-Rob can get open. Godwin can get open. Any number of people can get open on a man look. If they're going to go with a 4-3 man, you just got to win your one-on-one matchups. So for my man Patrick, yeah, similar but not the same as Cleveland's defense, but there are things that we can exploit. Power off the edge and zone read is one of them. Bear down.